As though aware of the seriousness of what was going to happen within, the courthouse towered over a slate-gray sky. Outside, the street was lined with news vans. In front of cameras, reporters whispered dramatic teases to viewers who were anxiously following along at home. Speculation, fan theories, and old interview clips of the Brown family were all over social media, creating a sharp contrast between the broken reality they now lived and the image they formerly projected. Tension reverberated through the rooms inside. As the doors of Courtroom 3B opened, security personnel led reporters and spectators to assigned locations. Janelle Brown sat at the plaintiff's table with her mouth gritted and her back straight. She exuded calm power while wearing a navy blazer over a white shirt. She didn't need to glance around the room. The cameras weren't her reason for being here. She needed closure. Meri Brown sat beside her, silent and unreadable. Hey, hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel TLC Flicks. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Let's dive into the latest drama. Her hands were folded calmly on her lap, and her distinctive red hair was arranged in a precise fashion. But behind the surface, a storm was building. A decade of humiliation, betrayal, and broken promises was finally taking center stage. Cody Brown entered the room by himself from the other side. He lacked a confident smile and a swagger in his gait. His curls had become thinner and grayer. In the last 2 years, his face appeared to have aged 10 years. He was dressed in a subdued suit and was a little disheveled, as if he hadn't quite accepted that this day would finally arrive. Robin Brown slipped in behind him and sat in the gallery. Her lips pursed, her eyes darting between the 3 ex-wives, her usual composure broken. The court convened. Judge Loretta Thompson, who is renowned for her stern demeanor and intense gaze, sat down. The ensuing hush was oppressive. The issues of property ownership, contractual responsibility, and fair compensation between Mr. Cody Brown and Mrs. Janelle Brown and Mrs. Meri Brown are at the heart of this hearing, she said. All parties shared financial duties for several joint homes and properties, even though they were no longer legally connected by marriage. Today, we are here to decide who is responsible for what. Janelle's testimony opened the trial. Although forceful, her voice was never accurate. In her timeline, she explained to the court how she had relocated from Wyoming to Vegas to Arizona for Cody, how she had invested thousands of dollars in properties she didn't legally own, and how her name had been neatly omitted from deeds on the grounds that it was easier this way. In the name of family, she had given up security, retirement savings, and even a feeling of permanence. She underlined that the family no longer saw her as an equal. She stated in a calm but pained voice, "I never signed up to be expendable. I joined in order to construct something. A life. A legacy. Rather, I was gradually eliminated." Meri came next, with a tale that was similar in sadness but had a different tone. She talked about her early years as the first wife, assisting Cody in establishing a foundation, and having total faith in him. She acknowledged her errors, including the notorious affair scandal that almost destroyed everything years ago. However, that could not excuse her subsequent gradual seclusion. How assurances regarding her share of the family's land had disappeared. How the very family she helped form had portrayed her as the outsider. Cody said to me, "You'll always have a place in this family," when we purchased that land in Coyote Pass. Months later, however, my name was no longer on the records. I had lost my stake. I was given the status of a footnote. There was a rustle in the audience when Meri stepped down. Several reporters typed frantically. Robin's fingers were clasped in her lap as she gazed down. Then everyone looked at Cody. He struggled to take the stand. The self-assurance that had inspired 16 individuals to pursue his ambition was vanished. Before he started, his voice broke. He said, "I don't know when I lost control of everything. Perhaps it began when I began to believe what I saw in myself. By making the difficult choices, I believed I was keeping the family together, but now I realize I was driving them apart." He made an effort to defend his behavior, citing the intricate financial arrangements, the shifting of titles for taxation, and his emotional exhaustion from years of juggling several marriages. He insisted on saying he didn't mean to hurt anyone. However, each time he attempted to defend himself, his words came out flat. He admitted, "I relied on Robin more than I ought to have. She supported me in ways that the others did not, But that doesn't mean I should have devalued Meri or Janelle. In an attempt to keep things under control, I let the relationships to deteriorate. His statements were followed by quiet. A quiet that said 1,000 words. After a short break, Judge Thompson returned with her ruling. It is evident from examining the financial documents, text exchanges, and property records that Mrs. Meri Brown and Mrs. Janelle Brown have substantial moral and legal claims to the properties under dispute. Additionally, Mr. Brown's poor handling of affairs and lack of open communication reveal a pattern of covert manipulation unworthy of someone acting in good faith. Then she struck the gavel. The transfer of complete ownership of the contested Flagstaff property to Janelle Brown is hereby mandated. Meri Brown will receive a complete deed to the adjacent land tract. Mr. Brown will no longer be able to claim either property. By the end of the week, the documents must be signed and filed. Shucks. Shutters for cameras. There was a faint rumble of vindication throughout the gallery. Reporters gathered outside the courtroom as Janelle and Meri left, strolling hand in hand with their heads held high. Their victory, their posture, their eyes, and their unwavering silence all demonstrated their indisputable strength. Cody trailed after, his shoulders slumped and a few steps slower. Robin walked over to him but said nothing. She had crimson eyes. His voice was low and nearly inaudible as he caught up to the women. "I apologize," he said, "for everything, for assuming you two are taken for granted, for not remembering what we constructed." Janelle was the first to turn, and she looked cool without being mean. "Cody, you didn't forget. You simply made a different decision." Meri didn't turn around. "We are no longer upset. However, you don't have to apologize to us either." They then turned to go. Not as spouses. As footnotes, no. However, as women, they ultimately penned their own conclusion, and there's more. Kody Brown, star of Sister Wives, is labeled a monster, but I believe he's moving into his gentleman phase after recently giving his ex-partners larger parts of the Brown family's Coyote Pass property. I've been writing about the property for months, and I agree that his ex-girlfriends Meri and Janelle Brown, and Christine Brown as well, paid into the family in the same way that he did. They worked or contributed as daycare providers, cooks, sweat equity contributors, or whatever. Regardless of what was stated in the deed, I believe they should have a larger portion of the land. Previously, Robin and Cody owned one little plot. There are 4 total, and 97% of Coyote Pass. The now exes did not co-own that plot. But according to Starcasm, Cody only had to pay $10 to make a big difference, just as Christine had only paid $10 to return her portion to the family and be rid of the entire vile situation. Instead of waging a never-ending battle over a plot of land that represents the family's crushed dreams, Cody has decided to make amends with his ex-partners. The fact that Cody has now made Meri and Janelle co-owners of the little lot is fantastic news because Janelle, Meri, and Christine did their share to support the family by raising the children, making money, and giving Cody their love and energy. It seems wise, kind, and equitable. Currently, Cody and Robin possess the remaining portion of the lot I've been talking about, with Meri and Janelle owning 25% apiece. While dealing with a significant loss, Janelle focuses on her loved ones on Instagram, displaying a great deal of heart and spirit. Garrison Brown, her son with Cody, passed away. Perhaps Cody truly wants the family to heal, as he stated. Naturally, Cody might be afraid of Meri and Janelle becoming lawyers, as they have vowed to do. But perhaps the reality is more straightforward. Maybe Cody has thought about how much his ex-partners donated to the Brown family. He is aware of Janelle's financial difficulties. The money from a possible sale of Coyote Pass could be useful to her. It would be a blessing if Cody and Janelle could reach a consensus on this piece of land and find peace. Meri seemed to receive the least amount of love in the family and was frequently taken advantage of. Robin was and still is the object of Cody's intense adoration. Though there were occasionally sparks between them, he and Janelle shared a buddy relationship. Janelle lusted after him, according to him. Perhaps she was devastated when everything fell apart. Cody might come to understand that these ladies are decent, not bad. Although there has been a great deal of mistrust inside the family, people do evolve. It's time for peace because they all have children. Genuine peace, not just platitudes. I think there is a lot of hope for the Brown family when I see Kody Brown from Sister Women demonstrating this kind of care for the women that left him because he is so in love with Robin. Perhaps the grumpy patriarch has a heart after all. He's displaying a more endearing side, and it's really alluring. I'm proud of Kody for following my moral convictions. Sister Wives star Kody Brown leads an opulent lifestyle, and his prior charitable contributions reveal his values. In 1990, at a young age, he wed Meri Brown, his first wife. Before bringing up the subject of polygamy, Kody and her had been married in a monogamous relationship for a year. Kody married Janelle Brown, his second wife, in 1993. They were able to satisfy their need for a poly connection through their spiritual union, even if their marriage was not officially recognized. Christine Brown, Kody's third wife, was spiritually wed in 1994. Kody didn't have a very tumultuous first few years with Meri, Christine, and Janelle. But after he married Robin Brown, his fourth wife, and developed an obsession with her, things changed. Kody started ignoring his other families, putting Robin's happiness first and just spending time with her. In order to formally wed Robin, he eventually even divorced his first wife, Meri. Meri, Janelle, and Christine became tired of Kody's behavior between 2021 and 2023. In order to concentrate on their own lives and prospects, they made the decision to leave him with Robin and relocate away from their previous residence. He became well known in 2023 for openly supporting Republican political candidates in spite of his financial difficulties. According to reports, Kody, who is currently involved in a legal dispute with Meri and Janelle regarding the sale of the Coyote Pass property, contributed close to $6,500 to the Republican presidential candidates because it was the party that shared his views. Kody spent $6,473.01 over 3 years to demonstrate his support, according to a Federal Election Commission report. Additional information shows how Kody has backed his preferred party for the past 5 years. He gave Trump and his Make America Great Again committee a total of $500 in 2020. He gave the U.S. Concealed Carry Association for Saving Lives even more money in 2022. Kody donated $205 to WinRed, the American Republican Party's fundraising website, later that year. In 2023, he contributed $520.51 to Vivek Ramaswamy's campaign. The question of why Kody couldn't have utilized any of his money to assist his past wives is raised by the fact that he spent a sizable portion of it on his political ideals. As a Republican, Kody holds many of the same views as his preferred party. He is a fervent advocate for gun ownership and all things pertaining to private weaponry. The Brown family's patriarch has frequently said publicly that he likes weapons and has actively handled, talked, and promoted gun ownership. Kody donated multiple times to the U.S. Concealed Carry Association for Saving Lives between July 2022 and September 2022. This group is renowned for encouraging gun ownership in the United States by offering services such as insurance, training, and education. Kody's passion for firearms is further shown by his past. He had previously turned his love of firearms into a career by dedicating time to selling them at trade exhibitions. Naturally, a lot of Sister Wives fans disapprove of Kody's gun-loving tendencies. Additionally, they believe that he erred by spending so much money on the gun trade rather than pursuing a venture that would have provided all of his wives with financial security. Some argue that Kody ought to have selected a different line of work and revenue. It's simple to see why some people could think that Kody is purposefully flaunting his wealth by giving the Republican Party sizable gifts. He has been leading an extravagant lifestyle since he broke up with Meri, Janelle, and Christine, which has raised questions about if he is showing off his fortune to make them feel unhappy. Kody has reportedly spent money in a variety of ways over the years. Viewers have questioned whether Kody and Robin, his lone surviving companion, have a tendency to overspend because they have been spotted wearing pricey accessories in the past. While Kody stayed in Arizona and thrived with his amassed fortune, Janelle had to start again, create new enterprises, and start a new life in North Carolina. Kody sold his house in Flagstaff a few months ago for over twice the amount he paid for it. He sold the home for $1.7 million after paying $890,000 for it. He later demonstrated that he didn't take his ex-wife's sentiments into account by purchasing a $2.1 million house for himself and his only wife, Robin. Meri, Janelle, and Christine might have had more good things to say about Cody if he had put the same amount of money into his other marriages as he did in Robin. Regretfully, Cody had the opportunity to be a far better husband to his first 3 wives. Meri, Christine, and Janelle have all been negatively impacted by his actions during the last 10 years of their polygamous partnership. His disregard for them compelled them to look for other sources of income. Janelle disclosed that although her ex-husband and other sister wives had made contributions and withdrawals from a common fund, Cody always reaped the greatest rewards. The TLC star failed to give his ex-wives their rightful portion of Coyote Pass, a property they had jointly purchased, even after he and Janelle split up. After divorcing Cody, Janelle encountered the most financial challenges. After her divorce, the Sister Wives cast member unfortunately endured the most emotional suffering due to numerous disasters and a lot of stress. The conflict between Sister Wives star Cody Brown and his ex-wives, Meri and Janelle Brown, over Coyote Pass has taken a significant turn. The Brown family bought 14 acres of land in Arizona in 2018 to establish a homestead for their huge, polygamous family, which they call Coyote Pass. Rather, the land became a huge source of conflict within the family after years of sitting without any developments. That was made worse when Christine Brown decided to leave Cody and the family, followed shortly after by Janelle and Meri, leaving Cody with Robin Brown as his only surviving wife. According to Starcasm, as of March 27th, the land was redivided, leaving Cody and Robin as 50% owners and Janelle and Meri each with 25% ownership, according to property documents. This indicates that, in contrast to the earlier model, the land is now divided fairly on paper. To put everything in perspective, after Christine first left the family, her share of Coyote Pass was purchased, leaving Cody, Robin, Janelle, and Meri to split it up and handle the legal issues. On paper, the redivision represents a change in the old family's dynamics. Previously, Janelle and Meri were given considerably lesser shares of the land. Currently, they each control 25% of the land, together with Cody, Robin, and Meri. Sensing that she needed to defend her rights, Janelle announced during Sister Wives Season 19 that she was going to get legal advice and encouraged Meri to follow suit. Meri and Janelle have won big now that the land has been formally split. The redivision is the first step toward equity for all parties engaged in Coyote Pass, but they still rely on Cody and Robin to sell the land. Additionally, it's an indication of Robin and Cody's good intentions, and may allay suspicions that they are treating any of the ex-wives unfairly. Since the family first bought the property, the story of Coyote Pass has been developing. One of the metaphorical straws that broke the camel's back and made Christine realize she wasn't being heard in the family was Cody's plan to construct a huge house where all the wives and kids would live together. Although there were a lot of reasons why Christine left Cody, Coyote Pass's fate was one of them. At first, Cody thought Coyote Pass would be a calm haven for him and his children. I think the family's breakdown sprang from his failure to consider the fact that many of his wives were unhappy with the path the family was taking. Since the land has been divided more evenly, everyone will be able to move on without worrying about anyone being defrauded of their rightful share, even though Cody's dream turned into his worst nightmare. Let us know in your comments. And stay tuned by subscribing our channel to get more updates like this. Thanks everyone.